You know what time it is. It's your boy Hammer Vong, and welcome to Hammer Time Cooking. On today's episode, we're going to take a trip down to the Philippines. We'll be making my wife's favorite home-cooked meal, Nilaga. Nilaga is served with a bowl of steamed rice and a dipping sauce that contains patis, aka fish sauce, and chili peppers. Now let's get down to the get down. The star of this dish is going to be our beef. So the style of beef I'm using is beef chuck roast. So I'm breaking down the piece of meat. We're just going to cut them into big chunky pieces. The best part about beef chuck roast is it's fairly inexpensive. You get a lot of it, and when cooked low and slow, it's nice and tender. Now for the veggies, we'll be using some diced gold potatoes. So I personally prefer gold potatoes over russet potatoes. You can use fresh corn on the cob or corn from the freezer section. We'll need one medium-sized yellow onion. All you have to do is peel the skin and cut it in half. We'll need one green cabbage. We're going to cut it in quarters. You can use any type of greens. Today we're going to use baby bok choy. Just make sure you don't overcook them. And for a little bit of spice, we'll be using 1 to 2 pieces of jalapeno peppers. We'll need 1 tablespoon of black pepper. To season our broth, we're going to use some patis and some chicken bouillon. With our cut up pieces of beef, we're going to throw it into an 8-quart pot. My biggest tip for this dish is cooking it low and slow. So we'll actually simmer this for 3 hours. If you're new to this channel, you know I like to parboil my meat. It's a technique I learned watching my mom cook. So this technique helps ensure my broth stays nice and clear. And depending on what type of meat you use, it helps get rid of that gaminess taste. So we'll be boiling our meat in 2 points. So this part, we're just going to fill up the water till it covers up the meat. Let's set the heat to high, allow the water to boil, then bring it down to medium and let it boil for 30 minutes. Once the beef starts cooking, the water's going to start looking like this. So you're going to see some of the impurities, some of the fat come up. For me, I love a clean broth anytime I eat a soup. So what I'm going to do is take the entire pot, we're going to take it to the sink and we'll rinse off our meat. So you don't see this on camera, but after I dump out the meat, I actually clean the pot. This will start the second part of the cook, and this is where all the magic happens. So same as the first step, we're going to add our partially cooked meat and then add in our water. Once the water's filled, bring the pot over to the stove and let's add in our onion. The onion's going to add more depth of flavor to our broth, and it's going to add some sweetness to our soup. Season the broth with 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Now let your broth simmer for 1 hour. Once the hour is all ready, we're going to continue adding more flavor to our soup. Add 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Add 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, aka patis. Add 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon. And then let it simmer for another 30 minutes. Once the 30 minutes is passed, we'll add our jalapenos. We'll also add in our corn. You can always cut them up into smaller pieces if you have a family that loves corn. Now allow these flavors to simmer for another 20 minutes. Next we'll throw in our gold potatoes. For the prep work, all I did was peel the skins off the potatoes and I cut them in quarters. So I prefer gold potatoes over russet potatoes because it holds its form longer. Simmer for another 20 minutes. Last but not least, we'll add in our green veggies. Go ahead, add some baby bok choy. It's important to know that if we added our bok choy earlier, it would overcook and just wilt inside our soup. The perfect bok choy would have a nice bright green color and a light crunch to it. To add more sweetness and texture, we're going to add our cabbage wedges. You can also add carrots to this soup. It adds great texture, color, and flavor to the soup. Allow the cabbages to become nice and tender, and that's pretty much it for our nilaga. To really bring out the flavors, I like adding some fresh ground black pepper to the soup. Now for the dipping sauce, all it is a tablespoon of patis and some sliced up Thai chili peppers. Ladies and gents, I present to you Nilaga. I hope you get to try out this recipe. Now don't forget to hammer that like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Welcome very much, and I'll see you again next time.